Dubai is a city-state with just over 3 million inhabitants that makes up one of the 7 emirates of the United Arab Emirates. It is located in the Persian Gulf, specifically in a desert where temperatures can exceed 50 degrees Celsius. In Dubai, there is the tallest building in the world, the largest airport and shopping center, the most luxurious hotel, and the police patrol the city with sports cars. Dubai is also one of the most visited cities in the world. For example, last year they received 7 million tourists, and before the pandemic, they even exceeded 16 million. One of Dubai's biggest concerns, without a doubt, is its desert. According to a Dubai government report published in 2019, population growth, land degradation, and thus food production are becoming unsustainable. Another problem that the city has is the lack of a complete network of sewers. For example, the Burj Khalifa has always had problems extracting human waste through the sewage system, calculated at more than 7 tons of waste per day, to the point of having to rely on tanker trucks. Dubai also has another face that the government is trying to hide. Believe it or not, poverty in this city is a reality, and despite the fact that at first glance Dubai seems to have no poor people, the truth is that behind the downtown, that is, the heart of the city, there are the suburbs. On this side of the city, there are the majority of immigrant workers who live with a terrible quality of life. Another important point is that Dubai has built its city almost entirely financed on credit, where most of its skyscrapers are empty. This would be a big problem if central bank interest rates start to rise, because the housing bubble starts when home loans are very cheap and easy to borrow. And then when interest rates go up, buildings that aren't profitable enough find themselves unable to service the debt. This is when the bubble bursts and the economy goes into crisis. That is why more and more analysts are wondering if Dubai is just an illusion, and at any moment, the crisis breaks out. Dubai has undergone an impressive transformation in recent decades by outsourcing its economy, where tourism, transportation, finance, and real estate are the engines of growth. 70 years ago, Dubai was a small, poor settlement of 30,000 people, heavily dependent on agriculture, fishing, and the pearl trade. In the 1960s, Dubai discovered oil fields, and the income from the exploitation of this resource allowed it to invest in infrastructure projects such as roads, ports, and industrial centers. Despite the belief that Dubai is currently rich thanks to oil, the truth is that today, this sector represents less than 5% of its GDP. Because if the sheiks of that time were convinced of anything about the oil boom, it was that the reserves were limited. And if they wanted to have a long-term sustainable economy, they had to propose a different economic model that does not depend on oil. Dubai stands out for not having taxes at its ports, both import and export, to the point that, in 2004, it was already the 3rd re-export center in the world, only behind Hong Kong and Singapore. To complement this port, the Dubai government had the idea of creating its own airport called Emirates Airlines, a fully public company that today is tremendously successful and generates large revenues. Thanks to the development of the industrial, business, and real estate sectors, plus the tax incentives of 0% income tax on companies, Dubai became the largest location for individual and business emigration in the world. However, the fact that Dubai is built on top of a desert, the government has a large amount of national debt, and is surrounded by very conflictive countries, such as Iran or Pakistan, mean that Dubai also has its dark side, despite its great quality of life in the city center. One of Dubai's problems is desertification and the continuous advance of the desert. Desertification is a process of ecological degradation in which the fertile soil of desert regions totally or partially loses its productive potential. It is estimated that between 2000 and 2020, Dubai has lost about 60% of its fertile soil. In general, this occurs when there is an overexploitation of natural resources, such as water or soil, which means that the land does not grow vegetation. Although this phenomenon can occur naturally, the truth is that it is increasingly linked to human activity, specifically grazing, intense agriculture, and the development of infrastructure in nearby areas. The problem with having less and less fertile soil is that it harms the economy, since it increases dependence on food imports. According to the World Bank, the United Arab Emirates had 75,000 hectares of arable land in 2002, but by 2018, it had dropped to 42,300. Additionally, in 2008, The Worldwide Fund for Nature classified it as the country with the worst ecological footprint per capita. To solve this problem, in 2010, Sheikh Mohammed launched an initiative known as 1 Million Trees, with the aim of planting that same number in an attempt to stop desertification and increase green areas in the city. However, this project failed, and most of the trees died from weather conditions. Another of Dubai's big problems that can not only cause a collapse in its national economy, but also cause the end of its status as a tax haven, is its monstrous debt. Since 1999, both the national debt as a percentage of GDP and the debt per capita have not stopped rising. At the beginning of that year, the debt as a percentage of GDP was barely 4.82%, but today it is more than 35%. This is a checkmate for Dubai, since that debt must be paid yes or yes by increasing taxes. There are three ways to pay a debt. The first is by raising taxes on citizens. The second is through more debt, as the United States government does when it issues bonds, and the third is by printing money. In the case of Dubai, they cannot pay the debt by printing money since the dirham, their local economy, is priced against the dollar. 1 dirham is equal to 27 cents. In addition, the government cannot issue bonds to pay off old debt, as the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates does not allow it. Then the Dubai government would have no choice but to raise taxes on companies or individuals. This could cause those who moved just to avoid paying taxes to start thinking about leaving. Dubai's economy is strongly linked to the policies of the United States. In fact, the countries of the Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf, which includes the United Arab Emirates, have their currencies pegged to the dollar and generally follow the monetary policy movements of the Fed. The recent threat of a prolonged economic recession in the United States could cause huge losses in Dubai. According to the graph of the Dubai Index, Dubai stocks have not stopped rising from February 1, 2020 to March 1, 2022. This is due to the tremendous printing of money made by the Federal Reserve artificially boosting the market. For this reason, the officials of the United Arab Emirates are terrified that the United States Federal Reserve will continue to tighten its monetary policies because they know that the markets could collapse at any moment. A few years ago, exactly on June 5, 2017, the countries of the Persian Gulf decided to put an economic blockade of air, sea, and land on Qatar. However, the biggest loser was not Qatar, but the United Arab Emirates, and therefore Dubai. The economic blockade ended on January 5th last year, and during all that time, Dubai stopped receiving income from exports of machinery and electronic components, losing one of its largest trading partners. In 2016, a year before the economic blockade, Qatar imported close to $3 billion from the United Arab Emirates. In Dubai, 85% of the population is an immigrant, the majority of whom are foreign workers with great expectations of earning good wages and having better living conditions. But these working conditions are precisely one of the biggest criticisms that the city receives. Cases have been reported that once they start working, they are not free to leave their jobs and their passport is withheld. Also, the weather and rest times are not the best. The Dubai government has taken it upon themselves to sell the idea that poverty does not exist there, but this is not the case. Sonapur is the other Dubai, the poor Dubai, which more than a city looks like the 31st villa in Argentina. Approximately 150,000 workers live in this region, mostly from India, China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. The subhuman conditions of the workers have made the suicide rate quite high. For example, in 2005, there were 971 deaths from unknown causes in this region. Furthermore, a human rights study concluded that the Dubai government covers up deaths related to overwork, heat, or suicides. But despite the terrible conditions, we are not going to deny that these workers are better off in Dubai, where they at least have enough income to send money to their families, rather than in their country of origin, such as Bangladesh. Another point that nobody talks about is that the Dubai justice system is literally a joke, since the authorities are always on the side of the native Dubai and not the foreigner. For example, if you're driving a car through the city center and then a drunken Dubai man hits you, for the Dubai police, the culprit is you. Another issue that may affect Dubai's economic growth in the long run is its lack of democracy and the fact that the institutional structure is heavily influenced by one person. If you plan to visit Dubai, do not forget to put your Twitter in private, because if you tweet something that the government doesn't like, you could receive very expensive fines, and in more serious cases, even jail time. In August of this year, a student named Salma Al-Shihab is facing 34 years in prison for allegedly disturbing public order and destabilizing the social fabric, according to the court. Thank you for watching this video.